Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. Sound right, boys.
y'all hear me? Hey guys, welcome to Black Lounge. I'm your host, Miss T. Pre. Shout out to all the new subs. I just want to thank you guys for coming in. For those that will catch the replay, thank you all as well. Just to let you know, we are going to be talking about young Pharaoh and his finances tonight. I do have Dr. Bombay backstage. I'm going to bring him on. Before I do, I just wanted to let you guys know, make my little disclaimer, that all information contained in this live stream is subject to fair use and for entertainment purposes, and all statements are alleged, okay? I'm going to go ahead and start the intro, and then I'm going to bring Dr. Bombay on to introduce himself. And I'm actually going to show you guys a creation that Dr. Bombay made. So please go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Make sure you guys link up with him for some of the digital work, okay? Let me go ahead and show that.
Ooh, I like that.
Show. Truly appreciate you coming on tonight. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome to the show, and thank you. If you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself, also introduce your channel. You have a couple channels, so.
Well, we're going to focus on. My name is Dr. Bombay. My channel is TMK Media. T.M.K Media. Well, we were going to have a discussion tonight. T. Pre and I both work in the wonderful world of banking and finance. So we're going to talk about young Pharaoh and kind of look at things from a financial perspective to give you some insight from a different angle for once. And
absolutely.
Thank you for all who are attending.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on and having this, I think, very much needed discussion. One of the things I wanted to make clear, and I know that you and we talked backstage and also we talked, beforehand, but we wanted to make it clear that we're not here to bash young Pharaoh tonight. I do think that he's going through, I don't think I lost Dr. Bombay, but he'll come back on. Let me drop the link in the chat just in case you need that. Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. All right, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear, loud and clear. The StreamYard was acting a little bit weird. As you see here, it had a whole green effect.
Yeah, I saw the green. That's fine. I thought that was for finances. That's what I thought that was for. Green for money.
Gold for honey. No,
all
that
right,
was a
so
glitch.
anyway.
I tested everything.
You know how that goes, though. Hey.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I did want to make that clear that I didn't want to make this a bashing moment on young Pharaoh. I think he's had a lot of that and enough of that. Even for myself, I did a reaction. We did a reaction video to some of his shenanigans, but I do think that he's going through a mental breakdown of some sort. I'm not an expert in that. I'm not, any type of therapist, so I can't make that diagnosis. But I do think that there's some things going on with him. So I did want to show you guys a small video that Dr. Bombay has already watched. So I think he's having some technical difficulties, but I'll bring him back on.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
my reference machine.
I got you back on now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play a portion of the video where he was denied where young Pharaoh was denied the application at the dealership. And then there's about 3 parts of that video that, or at least 3 points in the video that really stood out to me as a banker. Okay. And so I wanted to just kind of just point these things out and discuss these things and even some possible solutions for people who do follow young Pharaoh. Okay. People who need to hear some of the things that, you know, the realities of some of the things that he's actually dealing with when it comes to his finances. But before I do that, I do want to say shout out to the chat room. I appreciate you guys being in here. I see Shock and Rod 211, Rodney Sadler, appreciate you. Make a Change, thank you for actually coming up with this important topic. I appreciate you asking me to give expertise on that. And I did want to bring Dr. Bombay in because, like I said, I know that he is in finances as well. So let me go ahead and start with the video, and then we can go from there, okay? I'm going to play the entire thing. It's about 5 minutes or so of the video. I'm going to skip through it a little bit too, but I'm going to go ahead and play it.
But you know, I don't leave it like that. You feel me? You feel me? I'm like they tell me things for coming by. Crib's about to be lit. New.
I think it's running slow.
G. Hold on. Oh.
StreamYard is acting kind of slow, but it'll pull up in a second, I guess. Give it a moment. We know how StreamYard gets.
Yeah, they having some issues because I was all set and ready to go, and as soon as you turned on, it just green screen gone, everything gone. So yeah, must be a lot of people.
There's a couple people I saw that were live today that had problems with StreamYard. So I don't know. It might be time for us all to switch over to something else. You know, I know StreamLab is out there. There's a couple other programs out there. So anyway, I'm waiting for it. This seems like it's buffering. So right now in this part of the video,
this bitch about to be hard though. New G.
Yeah, so in this part of the video, guys, he's just basically showing his new Jeep that he's intending to buy. Okay.
This how we grabbing it, but this ain't how it's going in. New G. Oh, this thing about to be hard.
What do you think about that car, Dr. Bombay? I don't really like it.
I'm not feeling the new design of the Jeep. I don't know why. I mean, does he ever explain why this particular model he's interested in at all? Or, you know, he's coming out. I mean, looking at the title, I was racially profiled today in America and denied from buying a 2021 Jeep Wrangler. I'm premising that, and by saying that, the title of the video right away is just kind of like false. He says racially profiled.
Yeah, because I was like, I watched the video because I wanted to see.
This shit about to be hard, baby. New Jeep. Oh yeah, bro. Fuck with him. Fuck with him. New.
I thought the vehicle was overpriced. You know, you can get, which we'll get into in just a moment. I just kind of wanted to see a little bit more, but the video is just starting to buffer. It's really getting on my nerves. I think we can kind of talk through it because a lot of people have already seen it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think he's about to go into.
That got me fucked up. Y'all got me fucked up.
That boy on drugs.
Oh, well, allegedly. We know that.
Allegedly. Well, I mean, he talks about using some, but.
Yeah, he said he's on shrooms, so allegedly. But.
Talking about some gang.
Yeah, this is irritating me. So.
I'm trying to pull a video up too. I'm thinking, and of course I have my
I'm gonna stop sharing this and I might start that one over. But either way, so I think a lot of people have already seen that video. So we can kind of just break down what we were going to talk about. I'm cutting it off. About what we were going to say anyway. Okay, because ultimately the issue is his finances. Okay, it just opened the floodgates to me. Like, why is he in this position? So it was about three things it was a lot of things that I could point out. But there was three things that stood out and that I think we could actually, speak upon and really give some good advice on. Okay. So the three biggest issues was, number one, when he was in first of all, he was in the car dealership and he was trying to negotiate with them about this vehicle. Okay. Then he said that Wells Fargo would not grant him an increase on his spending limit, and he was asked to come into the bank for a cashier's check. That stood out to me automatically, okay? Because he's not your average Joe, okay? Now, your average Joe, that makes sense, okay? Depending on what's, in your account, depending on your the amount of time that you've been banking, depending on the amount of years that you've had accounts, at other banks and even with them, it gives you a certain score, okay? So I'm not talking about a credit score. I know you know what I'm talking about. There's a certain score that's in the background that we know about, okay? So we can see certain things on certain reports that will come through. And either you're going to pass that test or you're going to fail that test. It really has nothing to do with your race or anything. People apply for accounts online. You understand what I'm saying? So we don't know that you're white or black in these situations because they don't ask you your race when you're applying for a checking account or a savings account. So it stood out to me that he has a regular checking account because it has to be a regular checking account. It's definitely not private banking. It's definitely not, any investment type of banking or anything like that, which I would expect from him or somebody on his level. Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I have it pulled up and it's playing fluidically. Like if you allow me to share my screen, I can go ahead and run the video. That way they can get the full context.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Add me to the stream. You see where it says TMK Media, the second?
Okay. Yeah, I see it now. Yep.
Yeah. Just add me to the stream.
Got it. Okay.
All right. So it should be showing my screen now, right?
It is.
All right. So can you hear it?
No, I think you have to share audio.
I thought I did that. Hold on one second. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me back out. Let me back. Yeah, back out.
Yep.
No problem.
So while you're doing that, that's just one of the topics I had. I just kind of it really stood out to me that he has those types of accounts where we would send you to the bank for a cashier's check when really, okay, I'm going to pull you up now and then we'll get into that. Okay, we can hear it. Yep.
It's ready to be safe inside. All right. Listen, I'm in this vlog, y'all. I'm about to grab this Jeep. I'm going to tap in with y'all when I go drop it off.
We'll stop it at 17 minutes.
Are you ready?
You can fast forward through this part because it's music on there.
Got you. You're not ready. Ooh. Okay, now what are you saying? 15. So they playing games. Now, how do I know they playing games and the banks is playing games? Because I'm a fucking banker. And I just told them, let me talk to them and let me get them on the phone. Now we about to try to talk to somebody, get somebody on the phone, but y'all see they scrambling right now like ants. I don't know what the fuck going on. Hold on, though. I'm gonna pause this video, y'all. I'm trying to see if I can get some assistance. Hold on. And y'all shit just got real in the field, man. But this is what I go through every time I try to come by a car, these bankers. But all the bankers at the top that's trying to give me higher times when I come into these banks, SMD. Y'all know what it is. I'm a banker too now. Gang. And that little funky 20% y'all want down, you can have that funky bitches.
This guy.
Yeah. Yep. So he calling the bank right now. He going, listen, they talking about 11%. I just put the calculator out. I'm very good at math. 11% of what this vehicle costs, 20% of what this vehicle costs is $11,400 and some change. I told him 11 flat. 11 flat. And the next time I come in here, I'm not fuck finance, fuck loan. We straight cash. Straight cash, everything. Fuck the bank. Fuck the bank. Unless it's mine, because y'all playing dirty. Y'all playing dirty up in the bank. They playing dirty. Y'all, banking ain't playing dirty, though. We playing real fair. You are. Where you got your first on? We recording right now. Where you got your first interview today at? You heard? Yeah.
Got the first interview with iTransportation.
You can fast forward a little bit of this. He's talking to some guy.
Put people on camera. I wasn't ready.
Go to like
we move. They taking on. It ain't us. Can you tell that gentleman to come over here again?
There we go.
Because I feel like he's being racist, and he's telling me to relax, or he's going to kick me out. Do I look like I'm not relaxed?
Playing the race card.
No, I know that, but I don't
Black
like
folks
people,
always got that in their wallet.
Oh, so we're gonna start. So listen to me. Do I look like I'm not relaxed to you?
You look relaxed.
I look relaxed, right? You're an employee. So why is he telling me to be relaxed? Or he's going to kick me out?
Because we need to relax so we can speed up the process.
Sir, I make $150,000 a month. I gave you 3 months worth of
Ball.
So why don't you got $50,000
down in his car?
to drop
What the
in
fuck is the
this
problem?
dealership, my nigga?
No, y'all. So what's his problem though?
10 days worth of salary.
So why is he
didn't
acting
you
like I'm
bring
not
it
being
with
calm
you?
and he's trying to kick me out?
Coming in there with
Okay,
some
so
pocket
that's playing
change.
games. That's playing games. I don't
Trying to
don't
get a
like that.
Jeep, but it
Okay, do
ain't
me a favor.
working.
I'm like,
One more time on this camera while you
what
can't
is-
tell me.
All right, we're gonna let this
Let me
roll
make
out.
sure we both on the camera.
So
I want you to hear
Explain
this.
to me why you can't sell me this car.
you don't have the credit.
What is the total cost of this car?
57.
57 what? Let's be all the way accurate.
57.
Rewind that just a
No, let's
second.
be-
Just a second, because I want everybody to
Now I
hear
make about.
what
He
that
said
man
you
said.
don't.
So why
You
is he
don't
acting
have
like
the
I'm not
credit
being
was
calm
his
and he's trying to
answer.
kick me out?
That was his answer.
Okay, so that's playing games. That's playing games. I don't play with me like that. Okay, do me a favor. Explain to me one more time on this camera why you can't sell me this car. And let me make sure we both on the camera.
So
Explain to me why you can't sell me this car.
you don't have the credit.
What is the total cost of this car?
57.
This car.
Let's be all the way accurate.
57.4 or something. I don't know.
No, let's be
I don't remember.
about $57.
Embarrassing.
Now I make about. Wait, pause.
I'm gonna tell you something.
I make over
I'm gonna ask you
100,000,
to
sir.
sleep,
Sir, I am.
or I'm gonna call
I
you
make
back.
over.
Sir,
Yeah, I don't
thank you so
mind.
much. I appreciate
I
it.
make over $100,000 a month. You see this? Come on, we out. We gone. Racism. We out. Racism.
Yeah, it is.
All right,
Racism.
fast forward
They
it
say
a
there's
little
no
bit
such
because
thing
he's
as-
gonna
no, leave
start
this on the-
cussing
leave
and
this on
stuff.
the
I don't
desk.
want YouTube to get.
$20,000 a month, and motherfuckers don't want to
Okay,
sell me
you're
a
good
car.
on that.
What they said, bro? First they said I could put down what I
We're gonna
want.
play it up to
Then they told
17
me
minutes.
2K. I
And then
said
we're gonna
cool.
stop.
Then they told me 5K. I said cool. Excuse me, I'm on the other side. Then they told me 11 grand, right? I said cool. Then once they see I had it, now they talking about 3 months bank statements, which is standard. I gave them the 3 months bank statements. They gonna go to the bank statement from 3 months ago and say it's nothing in the account. Now y'all remember that it's nothing in the account because I haven't been using it because y'all seen when Bank of America deleted my fucking account. I've been using Wells Fargo. I'm like, nigga, the account that I'm trying to buy
Lie
the car
number one.
for, it's 20K in that account right now. Like, I got the money. What's the problem? Motherfuckers don't want to sell me a car. Talking about the bank refused. Now, what the bank don't know, right? Whichever bank just refused me, right? What they don't know is, what they refusing to acknowledge is, I'm a banker too. I'm a banker too, motherfucker. But I just want to let y'all know, racism. Racism is on camera.
Yeah,
America's
it is.
racist.
Yes.
Hold on.
Systematic
He
racism at
he
its
got
finest,
some words.
y'all. Listen here, I'm trying to buy a 2021 Jeep Wrangler. Who got me? I'm trying to buy a 2021 Jeep Wrangler. Who got me? Who got me? A 2021 Jeep Wrangler. That's all I want. I'm just trying to spend some money. I'm just trying to spend some motherfucking money. And while you at it, go to otuniversity.com because I am the most intellectual black man on the planet. And if y'all want to know why the bankers and everybody is mad at me, it's because I've been exposing all of the human trafficking that they've been financially funding allegedly in the political crime section of our university. So y'all know how we rocking. Y'all know we rocking. We about to go somewhere else. We about to go somewhere else and spend our good money.
Watch this.
We about to go somewhere else and spend that good money. We're gonna do it tomorrow though, because they didn't got enough energy out of me for the day. All right, y'all. So listen, they on some whole shit, you feel me? They keep trying to take my car. Every dealership I go to talking about some, I can't get a car unless I turn in my Corvette and put $50,000 down. So these bankers is on bullshit, but I want to let these bankers know I own my own.
That's a lot of stuff to unpack.
A lot.
A lot.
We don't even have to go any further than that. But okay. So I have what you can go ahead because I was already talking. So I just want to hear some things.
Okay. Number one, he goes, and then we'll do the advice portion on the less of what you should do.
Right.
But looking at what has transpired, he went into the car dealership, okay, and basically he got denied, right?
Mm-hmm.
They pulled his bank statements. Now, according to him, he says, Bank of America closed my account, and that's the reason why I don't have a banking history. Impossible. If I'm banking with Bank of America or Wells Fargo or anybody else, and they call me tomorrow and say, we're closing your account, I have bank statements from here for the last 10 years.
Thank you.
What does it matter? And then going forward, if I've gone to a new bank, then I would have maybe my first bank statement, or let's say it happened the same day, I'm not going to have a new bank statement, but I'll have enough banking history for them to look at. So what they're looking for when he comes in, they're looking for the ability to be able to pay, right? Now, he gave you a clue. At the very end, that's what I love about liars, because they always put the facts in when you just got to be tuned in. He said they wanted me to turn in my Corvette and put down some money. Now, the reason that is because, one, that Corvette most likely probably has a payment on it, and his debt to income ratio is insufficient to warrant them to give him a new car, as he says. I love that upstate New York accent. To give him a new car. So he has to give it. Now he has to either turn in the Corvette, right, which will reduce his debt to income ratio, and then he can probably slide into the Jeep. Now, when he went into the dealership, here's the thing. It wasn't just between him and a bank. Dealerships deal with multiple lenders. They'll try to get you, say, for instance, you go to Toyota. They're going to go to Toyota Motor Credit first, right? Then if they can't get you done to Toyota, they might go to GMC. They might go to different bank outlets, all the way down to these, we call them subprime lenders, these people that'll have yet 19 or 20%. At the end of the day, there's no reason why you shouldn't have walked out of that dealership without a truck.
Exactly.
Unless you just don't have the capital to be able to afford the vehicle. So it's either one or two things. Either A, his revenue is not coming in, or B, he's hyperextended. He's very underwater is what we call that. Like he can't show proof of income, to be able to afford this vehicle. And no bank in the world is going to give you that money. It doesn't matter. I make $100,000 a month. Well, so do drug dealers. But drug dealers without credit. That's why when you look at a drug dealer, you pull him over, his Lexus is in Beulah May Robinson's name. That's his grandmama.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't have any credit history.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest problem.
Which leads to my question of the vehicles. It leads to my question of, because clearly he's capping all over the place. Okay. Exactly. So we don't know whether he's even lying about this. They're just telling him because they believe that the Corvette is in his name. They're letting him know, well, you drove up here with a Corvette. You can go ahead and give us that and we'll give you, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Exactly.
Of course, but who's to say that Corvette is even in his name? Because if he doesn't have it, like for him, for the stature that he should be at, he should have a line of credit somewhere, even if it's the mortgage on the home that he lives in, which makes me wonder, is he renting or is he living like a drug dealer? Is he using cash for everything? Allegedly.
That's probably, we're going to keep saying allegedly, but I think you all are taking in the clues.
Yeah.
Personally, now I personally believe he owns the Corvette, but I don't think, now own is the word here, the key word. Ownership means the title is free and clear. Let me explain something to you. To all of you out there with car notes, okay? You don't own that car. The bank does. You own it at the end of the term. Same thing with your house. I'm sitting in my house. I'd like to believe that I own it, but I don't own it until that last mortgage payment is done. But I'm telling you, the fact that he said they wanted me to turn in the Corvette right away indicates the Corvette is not paid off. It's not free and clear. The fact that he acknowledges that leads me to believe that, yes, it is financed and he is paying it, but he bought it at a time when he was doing better. Remember, he took a couple of hits. The bank cut him off. YouTube slammed him. Instagram slammed him. That brother's money is tight. Okay. And that, as you can see, I'm not going to diagnose him, but you can see now with the increased chemical abuse, the rants, the flying off the handle, and just going off of the hinges. Like, there's a lot of traits here. He went into the place and he said they're racist. I've watched that video 5 times. I don't see any evidence of racism there. Like, The people on the other end of that phone on the bank, they don't know who Marshall is.
They don't know who you are.
He could have been a Jewish man of age 48.
Exactly.
He could have been Marshall. He could have been a white guy from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. They don't know the difference. All they know is your social, your credit history, your FICO score. And they can clearly, and they're going to look at the bank statements and they're going to see, step one, can you even afford this car? Forget the credit. Do you have enough money to pay for this vehicle? And that's the thing. And again, at the end of the day, making $100,000 a month and only putting down $11,000, I'm not understanding it. I would need to see his books to really grasp that.
It made me question him, because then he also slipped in the video and said, well, I have 20,000 in that account. Okay, so if you have why do you only have $20,000 in Wells Fargo? That's number one. But then, okay, even if you do, so be it. What I don't understand is why he seems to be either just living beyond his means, or somebody else owns this stuff. Somebody else owns this stuff.
Yeah.
Because where else? I'm going to remove that. Where else is? I don't understand. I'm not getting it at all. It doesn't make sense to me at all. Why he would have to go and get a cashier's check from the bank. Why he would have to, somebody of his quote unquote stature should have his own private personal banker. You and I know that. Okay.
Exactly.
Even banks in particular, there's no reason why. And I'm going to tell you guys, most people bank at, various banks across the US. I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, you will never see a famous person walk into your regular local bank, but yet they bank there. Okay. There's plenty of people that bank, especially at banks in Delaware, because Delaware is one of the biggest banking states. So it's it is a banking state. Most banks that are chartered in the U.S. are chartered out of the state of Delaware. So there's a lot of famous accounts in banks, okay, across the U.S. But you'll never see those people walking in and out of the bank because for privacy purposes. And then who doesn't like the convenience of having their own personal banker? Of course, I can call my banker and say, yeah, I would need you to transfer such and such to this account. Can you put an increase on this for the day? Can you do this? If I can just call you personally to do that, why would I go into a Wells Fargo and wait in line to talk to, these are small little things that I picked up. Okay. Very small, little subtle things like that I definitely picked up. And I was like, why doesn't he have a personal banker that would, and this is the biggest thing. And I think everybody needs to get this, and maybe we can get into some of the education at this point. The first thing is, if you are on that level financially, you should be getting a bank loan from your bank to get a car note. Okay? You can get a bank loan at your bank to get a car note. You should not be stepping to a dealership. If a dealership sees you walking in there, they know you do not have that type of relationship with your bank. Because you can go to the bank and get a much lower rate on interest and everything by just stepping into your bank for that same loan that you're looking for. If he had that type of money and that type of capital, that type of credit, he could have went right to Wells Fargo and said, hey, I need a check for such and such so I can go get this car. They would have gave him anything he wanted to. Anything. Exactly. You understand me? I know this. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, those are pretty much the things that stood out to me was that.
And what T-Pre said is exactly 100% true. Let's look at a young Pharaoh type historically. Now, this is no shame to anyone that has been in the system, the penal system, or incarcerated, right? Because there's some very smart individuals inside of the system, but then there's some people that are still criminals and hustlers who cannot shake the mentality. So this brother came home. Unfortunately, a lot of people at street level have a hustler mentality. Everything with them is hustle, scam, get over, move, and shake. The problem is that in their own minds, they're bigger and badder than what they really think they are. They don't have a business sense, okay? So you have a lot of large YouTubers that are suddenly they blow up and they get fame and they start bringing in large amounts of money. The problem is they get caught up in the fact, matter of fact, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Okay. All right. Over 20 years ago, I started my own business. Problem. There was an influx of money. All of a sudden, I'm having hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day. Okay. And not understanding how the rest of the system works. So I'm bringing in money. I'm making bank deposits. I'm not really tracking my books. I'm not doing a lot of things that I should be doing. That was a recipe for disaster. It took 10 years into the business before I realized that, man, I got all this money coming in, but my credit, I had creditors, people that I owed, all this stuff going on. I couldn't go in there and sign for a washer and dryer set because I didn't have any credit. It didn't finally dawn to me that you have to build the credit. You have to build these relationships, okay? And you have to get yourself together financially. A lot of people don't have a mind for money. So when it's coming in, they don't understand how to transcend the money flow into business. All right. Exactly. So if that young man would have had a business model or something like that, and he was establishing relationships with companies, building lines of credit and such, like T Pre stated, when you go to buy a car, you should never go into a dealership empty-handed. Okay.
Absolutely not.
When you get there, you should call. Okay. For those of you that want to buy a car, the best way, get in a relationship with a credit union. Credit unions love to give money for cars. Okay. Get a relationship with a credit union. You go to your credit union first. Okay. And or you can shop around for the car. You find a nice Jeep Wrangler. It's $55,000. Okay. You go to your credit union and say, hey, I'm looking at these Jeeps. They're in the range of between 45 and 55,000 if they're loaded. I would like to get this. They say, okay, let's run your credit real quick. They run it. They say, hey, we got you pre-approved. And it's for X amount of dollars. So now you already know what your spending power is when you get to that dealership. So when you walk in there, you're literally holding cash in hand. You have your own money. They don't have to do any paperwork, no background, no nothing. You go in there now, you can negotiate. When you go to buy a car, always go at the end of the month. They're trying to close out and get their last sales, and you're going to get the best deals. If it's in fall, go in October. That's the end of the physical year. And if you can help it, go at the end of the month. You're going to get the best deal. So when you walk in there and they're telling you the car is $55,000, hey, look, I got a briefcase with 53.7 in it. That's all I got. Can we work something out?
They're going to take that.
Exactly. And you're not going to have to scream racism.
And they're going to offer you champagne. They're going to all the whole thing.
Yes, because you're a person with $50,000 in your pocket. Now, looking at a young Pharaoh in his enterprise, this man says he's a professor, he's a banker, he got universities, he got media companies, he does what is that other thing when you he's a publicist, he's a promoter, he's all of these things. What does his business entity look like? Does he have, are there tax returns? Is there a business structure? There should be money. When money's coming in, it should go to his bank account. Within his bank account, there should be expenses. He's writing checks out to cover expenses. There should be a rolling balance in that account. There shouldn't be no. I tell him, T, I shouldn't pull up your account and see no money for 3 months. You have one quarter. That makes no sense. He's living in a cash lane. He's literally money's flowing in. He's thinking, I'm a rapper, I'm a superstar. This money's pouring in, and he's not taking care of business. And nobody around him is telling him, like, brother, we have to establish these relationships. You truly are not a god. You're not a pharaoh. This is going to eventually run out. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the intelligence to know. Now, when you go to buy a car at a dealership, understand, if you happen to be one of the people that walk in the front door and you got that tax return, you got that $2,500 in your pocket, you want to get into that Mercedes, you better walk past that Mercedes. But if you go into a bank, let me tell you how some of the hustles work into the dealerships. You all heard that statement where you're sitting there working out, you're filling the paperwork out there, running your credit, and you got $2,500 in your pocket, and the salesman says, this looks kind of good. Let me go talk to my manager. That's the hustle. What they do is this, especially when you're buying a used car. If you're buying a used car, you should be hovering, you shouldn't be no more than 7 to 9% at the maximum. That's with shaky credit. With a 620, you should be able to walk in there and walk out with a decent interest rate. Remember one thing, never go in there and listen to the salesman tell you, I can have your payment be this. That's the rub. No. I can make your payment whatever you want. I can make the loan 8 years long. Do you really want to be? Do you really want to drive a Honda Santa Fe for 8 years paying on a note that long?
People have long notes, especially with the bank. I
come from a time when it was 3 years or 36 months. I don't know what the world changed since I blinked. All of my cars are super old. I haven't had a finance charge since I can remember. I'm sorry. We have one now, but that's another story. That car is actually already paid up. I'll explain that later. But anyway, I'm making payments, but it's already paid up. I'll explain that. So anyway,
I get it.
When you go into the bank, okay, used car. Now you should be rolling at about 4% with decent credit, right? This is what they do. When he goes, I'm gonna go talk to my manager. This is what they say. I got this clown out here with a damn eye tattoo, some rusty ass jewelry on, and some charred up gold fronts,
and
looking like a
Ricky
damn
idiot.
I think he's a wannabe rapper or he's a TikToker or something. I don't know. Well, what do you think? I don't know. He says he's God. Okay. Well, you know how much he got? He got about 2,500. Tell that ass hat that we need about another $2,000. They call over to the bank, right? They have now the dealership has the C&I guy, the F&I guy at the dealership. He's a finance master there. He has relationships with several finance companies, including banks and other people. So this is what they do. He said he calls to the bank. He says, "Look, man, this dude, he's at about 590, you know, da 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 da." So the bank says, "I can do 9%." They say, "All right, well, I'm gonna tell the tattooed fool we're gonna get him for 12%." Do you know that the finance company and the bank, that extra 3%, they split that? So the dealership buys the paper for 9, sells it to you for 12, which is not even what the bank approved you for, and they split the 1.5%, providing you can keep, if those payments last more than 6 months, the dealership gets to keep the extra, the sales manager gets a bonus, and the sales manager gets a higher commission. And that's how they play you. That's why you never walk into a dealership using their finance people and their money. Exactly. You don't know when they go in that cubicle, you don't know what's going on.
Yes, now, you always keep the power in your hands by using your bank. And if you're not able to do that, then you can't afford that car. That's the first thing you need to know. Stop trying to walk into these car dealerships, you know, trying to floss for people. I noticed that he did that after Golden got her vehicle, allegedly. Okay. And she did. She got a new vehicle that belongs to her and it's not in his name or anybody else's name, you know. And now with that, all of a sudden he's flossing on camera with these yes men trying to go get a new vehicle. And it's like, but you got denied because clearly your finances are not together, which, you know, I really think that one thing he needs to do, if he owns that Corvette or if he owns that house, he needs to downsize. Okay. Exactly. At the end of the day, he has three small children. He's got 2 baby moms and 3 small children. I'm not saying he got to buy a minivan, you know what I mean? But he definitely needs to go ahead and lower his tone a little bit and get something that he can afford. Okay. Obviously, this Corvette is really hurting him. So that's something he needs to get rid of. The mansion. Why does he need a mansion if they're not living there? If the family isn't living there, he can go live in an apartment, a condo or something. He doesn't need that place. So I think that's another thing that he could kind of lower, which would lower down his income a little bit, bring his income up, bring his debt down, okay, and kind of ration that out. You don't want to have more or too much of either one. You really don't want to have too much where there is no debt at all, okay, or there's nothing at all that can prove that you actually can afford bills and you can pay stuff each month. You want to be able to have some debt where you can show that you can actually make payments on time and so forth. But you don't want to have so much debt that nobody else wants to lend anything to you, okay? Now, that's one side of it. That's for us regular people, okay? Us regular people, that's what that's for. Now, let's talk about some people that should be in his financial status, okay? Those people, even though it's not far-fetched for them to use credit as well, because they understand what I just said. They understand that you do have to have a certain level of debt and have a certain level of income so that if in the event you lose all of your freaking income, or if something happens with that income, or if you take a big plunge, you still have lines of credit that you can work with, okay? That is the importance of doing that. So It's one thing, to make fun of him in this situation, but that is not my intentions. My intentions are for people to really understand financial literacy and to get to that place, because that is the only way we will really build generational wealth for our families, is if we truly understand finances. Stop doing this silly stuff and listening to these people who don't know what they're talking about. He's not a bank. He's not a bank.
He's a banker.
I mean, I could be a bank. I could say that too. You, TMK, you want to be a bank today? I'm gonna be a bank too.
I'm a bank. I got a piggy bank. It's shaped like a pig and it's full of coins. So technically, I am a banker.
I got one of them.
I'm a banker. I'm a banker.
But I am a banker. But I don't own my own bank. Okay, like I'm not a shareholder. That's what it is. Being a banker and being a shareholder are two different things. It's not the same.
Exactly. You have to. Okay. I'm going to be young Pharaoh for a second. All right. I'm blowing up on YouTube. I become monetized. All of a sudden, some money starts to come in. All right. I'm hearing your speaker. So some money starts to come in. Okay. Then lots of money starts to come in. You got 10,000, 20,000 a month, 30,000, 40,000. Easily, it is very easy for the ego. Okay. And I'm going to say this. In your life, no matter what you do, you always have to have spiritual balance. The ego is going to feed off of this. Hey, we're bigger, we're better, we're God. Obviously, everything all this truth that we're spitting is causing us to become financially lucrative because we're God. We're controlling this projection of a universe or whatever it is you think you're in. And now we're successful. Again, let's talk about lay people, you people that work a 9 to 5. What you have to do, you should be living not above your means, which most people do. And by the way, above your means means $2. 2 days before payday, you're in the McDonald's drive-thru on the dollar menu. That means you're living above your menu. I used to have clients that would come in. I used to own an auto shop, so I would have where I could finance you for repairs. And it's so funny. I would see that those McDonald's charges a few days before their payday every time, and then you would see the day after payday, it would be hair salon, nail salon, shoes. It would be all of this stuff. Not picking on the sisters, but I'm just saying a couple of women that I finance. But anyway, you should not be living. No, it's funny, Miss. Oh my God, this lady, she had a weave down to the floor and she couldn't afford to put the fan belt on her Mercedes, and she hired this crackhead to do it 2 blocks down, and she leaned in the car and the fan belt snatched her weave off. Hilarious. Anyway, that's another story. So, and not like a bald head diva with some eyelashes. Anyway, you shouldn't. She had a golf hat on. It was hilarious. You should not be even living at your means.
Exactly.
You should be living below your means. Okay, so let's look at means. Okay, if I told you to write a check, right? Write me a check that at the end of the month will cover all of your household expenses, basics, right? Whatever that number is, and then take your income, whatever that is. Okay, this is your expenses. These are your income. Your spending should be here. Okay, so below what your outgoing is. Number 2, a person like young Pharaoh should have, and you should have, a savings account with about, I'm going to be conservative, 3 to 8 months for basic expenses. And the reason why I start at 3 is because the biggest problem or the biggest glitch that you'll face in your life where it's an interruption to your income is going to be job loss. The average American is out of work for about 3 months. Okay. So you're going to need at least 3 months to carry you. So just imagine you go into the office. They say, hey, we got the COVID, the Omega strain is out. It's knocking people down left and right. We got to shut back down again. Sorry, we're going to have to furlough you for a while. And you're going to have to sit this one out for a few months. Well, if you got savings in the bank, you're not even blinking an eye. That's why when you see these people, they don't jump out of windows when they lose their job. They just say, hey, I got a few days off, circulate my resume. I'm going to put my thing back out. You have to have a savings account. Okay, number 1. Number two, if you got any debts or people you owe, you need to pay those people. Okay, pay them. That's on your credit. Let's debunk one myth. In 7 years, nothing falls off of your credit. Okay, it does not fall. Let me explain the 7 years. The 7 years is this: if T-Pre owes Comcast Cable $572, Once she pays them in full, then after 7 years, she can solicit to have that removed from her credit once it's paid in full. Not 7 years, she's going to wake up and have an 800 credit score. She didn't get an 800 credit score by just letting things fall off her credit. She got that from living at her means, paying her bills time, and not carrying debt and just turning her back and walking away. Once she got a raise at a job or a promotion, she became a manager. She didn't suddenly say, well, I'm just not going to pay Comcast. I'm not going to pay that car lot that I owe. And I'm just going to let these things sit on my credit. That dude should have been able to walk into that dealership with his own paper, okay, pre-approved, or his own cash. Now, the question you need to ask is, how is somebody making $1.2 million a year and they don't have $50,000 to put up on a vehicle? Now, I'm gonna say one more point, then I'm gonna let T take it over. Now, for all of you people that are buying cars, I'm gonna say this to you. This is gonna sound really crazy. Y'all gonna want to turn the live off. When you go to buy a car, buy your car in cash, using your own cash. Now, I know y'all looking at me like, where in the hell am I supposed to get $26,000?
I have never purchased a vehicle. Well, I did. That's a lie. I did finance a vehicle before, but I learned my lesson.
Yes. Now, the reason why I say that crazy outlandish statement is because y'all have heard me say on Shakim's Live and other panels, there's two types of people in this world, those who pay interest and those who receive it. Now, I remember listening to this guy. He was on the radio. He said, now, I've had uncles and aunts in my family. I'm telling you, man, we used to go over Big Mama's house, aunts and uncles pulling up Lincolns, Buicks, Cadillacs, all of the latest and the greatest. They steel millers. A lot of you dudes from Detroit up if you worked in industrial towns where there's factories and things, you had uncles and aunts that had them good jobs. Y'all remember? So they all prided themselves on every 2 years getting the new one. I got the presidential Continental with the sunroof and the this and the that. And that was their thing. I saw this guy he was on a bus and he was on the radio and he said, I had a new Cadillac virtually every other year from 1970 on down. And he literally said, I've spent over $1 million in finance charges. And now look at me, I'm on a bus. And yes, he was swank. He was the rave of the town with all these new Cadillacs. But the thing is, the GM Motor Credit got rich off of him. All he got was bragging rights. Now, the reason why, back to the whole buying a car in cash deal, you want a car. You're going to need a car in a couple of years. You already know this. This is the part where the living below your means comes in. Your salary is $4,000 a month. Your expenses are $2,000 a month. Squeeze, live at $1,500. Build yourself an emergency fund 3 to 6 months. Once you do that, then have another account where you savings for your little Christmas holiday vacations. Start running over to Dubai when putting it on credit cards when damn well you can't afford to go to Dubai. I told all my friends over in Dubai, but you forgot that damn electric bill is Dubai the first. So if you come back in the damn dark, okay, then you be doing by your damn self. So anyway, once you start to, number one, you have to see where your money is going. If you don't have a program on your computer to track your expenses, which is what you should be doing, take all of your, every time you spend money, take your receipt, put it in the shoebox, at the end of the month, set it all side by side. I recommend using a spreadsheet or program. Once you start to see where your money goes, you're going to start to see some amazing things. Damn, I spend $300 a month at Starbucks. It's going to open your eyes. All the money you thought you didn't have, you really do have.
You have.
Go buy a $40 coffee maker and make the crap at home, okay? And keep the $300 in your pocket. What's 300 times 12? 3,600. Okay. Now, what's 3,600 times 5? You know what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this. This is just coffee. Okay. Now, imagine coffee and the extra eating out and the extra, I got some leftovers, but I want to eat out every day of the week at work. And you start to consolidate and take some of this money. Look, in 4 years, when you're looking at that auxiliary savings account, you'll have enough to buy a damn car in cash. So once you buy the car, you're going in there, you got raw cash, your own money, no finance charges. You're not paying interest. So what do you do with all the interest that you save? You're going to invest that in the stock market. We're going to talk about that at another time. But you buy your car in cash, you drive it for 3 or 4 years. Do you know what you're doing? You're saving up again. So when your friends are looking at you, when they pull up at the light in their Honda Accord and you're in your Honda Accord, the difference between you and them, they're in that Honda at 14%. You're in yours at 0 because you don't owe anybody. And they're looking at you like, you in Jamaica again? Yeah, I'm in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Well, why are you in Jamaica? Because I'm managing my money properly.
Exactly.
I can walk. When I go to the dealership, they all start smiling because they know I got cash. And they ain't have. All I got to do is get the keys and throw the money on the counter, and I'm out of there. So
Exactly.
you got to get a grip on your finances, man. You got to get a grip. A lot of you make enough money. You know, you just need to manage it right. And as you can see, your brother shows you an example. Now, what are you earning at your job down there at Social Security Services? You're making about $19, $19.50 an hour. You look at young Pharaoh. He's a YouTuber. Well, he was making $100K a month. He can't manage that. Now, if I gave you $100,000 a month, you would sit and tell me, "Oh my God, I would be balling out of control. My grandkids, my this generation." Well, you would talk all these grandiose stories. No, you wouldn't. You'd be out in the biggest Tesla you can get your butt into. Then you'd be in a big ass house that you know you ain't got no business in. It's just you, your man, and you got one infant. You would be splurging like he's doing, because what you do with a small amount of money, you'll do 10 times worse with a large amount of money. And that's attached to your ego. So like I said, if that brother was a spiritual master like he proposes to be, trust me, he would not be so caught up in the material world and becoming a victim of it. Now, I'm not saying you can't have nice things, but you got to be smart. You give me $100K a month, I'll show you what to do with it. T?
Yeah, when we're going to wrap it up because I don't really want to be very long. But one thing I wanted people to understand, and I think a lot of people don't get, is that these dealerships and these banks are in business. They are in business to make money, okay? Literally. People, one of the things that a lot of people, when I used to take a lot of calls at the bank, people would be concerned about is their overdraft fees and all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, well, listen, it's a choice to overdraw your account. You know what I mean? You don't actually have to do that. You're literally handing money to the bank when you're doing stuff like that. It's the same, idea of walking into a dealership without having a bank loan first. You need to go speak to your bank, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row so that you're saving money, in every single way. And some of that residual money that you're spending on extra stuff, just the floss for people, is money that, like you said, could be put into a savings account, a special savings, an emergency fund. Make sure that you have that. Make sure that you also have a fund. Some people call it a Christmas club or an all-purpose account or something like that. Because everybody don't celebrate Christmas, so they took that wording out. A lot of banks took that wording out. But it's the same thing. It's kind of money that you save up for once a year. If you choose to, the bank can send you a check or the bank will leave it in the account. A lot of those accounts gain interest. So those are things that you need to think about and have your regular checking accounts. And, don't be spending stuff beyond your means. Why are you buying a vehicle that you can't afford? If you don't have the money to actually walk up and buy that vehicle, you don't need it. But in the event that you feel like you really need to finance, if you really feel like you need to finance, then you need to have certain things in place first. You need to make sure that you are building your credit, that you have a line of credit somewhere, okay? Open up. People are scared to open up credit cards. The only reason you're scared to open a credit card is because you think you're going to spend money all over the place. No, it takes discipline to have stuff like that. You need to have one. You need to have something in place that you are establishing a line of credit, because you never know what's actually going to happen to your real income. Anything could happen. You could get hurt at work. Anything could happen. You could go through a grieving process. There's all kinds of stuff. I went through that. There's all kinds of stuff that could actually happen where your income is not like it was. Okay. So in that case, you need to have lines of credit. You need to have certain things in place, even in your 20s. You think I won't sell a credit card to a 20-year-old? Why not? It doesn't make sense not to. They are the ones that need to know about credit. They are the ones that need to understand having those things in place. So yes, absolutely. But not only would I sell or make sure that they get one, I would give them financial literacy with it. I would help them understand how to use it, what to do with it, what not to do with it, and different things like that. So, and those are things we can talk about at another time. Is there anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
Yes. You got to put things in two categories, needs and wants. And in closing, if you're starting out, let's say you are 34 years old and you are a financial disaster, that's okay. I was just like you. Okay, first thing in building credit, one, create your budget. I have a video on my channel called How to Create a Budget. Shameless plug, but you need to hear that. Okay. Number one, pay off all your debts. I don't care what's going on, pay the people you owe. On another video, we'll get into more so about how to negotiate those debts. Okay. Pay the debts off, number one. Number two, you're going to need to build credit. Now, I know the first thing in your mind is run and get a credit card. They do have those second chance lender credit cards with like a $500 limit for starters and all of that. Those are okay. What you want, though, is you want an installment loan, okay? Because credit cards, those bills change from month to month and the balances change. So it doesn't really show enough of what you can do, okay? Because if you don't use the credit card at all, then what does that matter? You're not charging anything, so you're not showing your ability to pay. That's what you want, your ability to pay. So what you want to do is go over to T's branch, right, and go to one of her workers, go into there, sit down with one of the bankers there and say, hey, look,
we'll get you a loan, baby.
I got my tax return. I was about to go out and buy some dumbass rims and a system for my car where my system would cost more than a car because I'm a Negro. But instead, I decided to take just $3,000. I want to open a secured loan. I want to use my $3,000 as collateral, and I want to borrow $3,000. And I'm going to run that loan for 2 years, okay? So you're going to pay the loan every year, and at the end of the 2 years, you're going to get your $3,000 back. Now you have an installment loan, established credit, and a relationship with a bank.
With the bank.
Okay? So once you do that, now you're on your way. You have an installment loan. So you'll see once you go into the dealership or a place to finance again, you'll have something on your credit showing your ability to pay. That's what they're looking for. And that's where you're going to have to start. I did that. And then the credit cards came, then more credit cards came, and then more relationships I established. I went from roughly, when I was in a disaster mode in about 3 years, from a 480 up to about a 780. Okay, it's no shortcut. There ain't no Fred, what's his face on here that's going to, you give me $300 and I can fix your credit. Do you know somebody that works at Equifax? Stop thinking like Negroes looking for the hookup. There's only one way to do it. That's the right way. And in closing, last statement, truths about your money will attract it to you. Lies about your money will repel it from you. Clear example. Your bills are $1,000. You have $200 left over at the end of the week. A relative calls you and say, hey, I need to borrow $400. Can you afford to give it to them or not? The answer is no. If you gave them the money, that would be a lie. You're giving them money or spending money that you don't have. That's a lie about your money. You're going to lose it. They're not going to be good on the loan, and you're going to fall further into debt. Truths about your money is just being simply honest. Can you afford a $5.99 a month car payment? Yes or no? And be honest with yourself. When you're honest, you attract money towards you. Okay. And that's all I wanted to say in closing. So start there, get a budget, fix your credit, pay those people you owe, especially Comcast and those other cable companies you put in your kid's name. Pay those people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent advice. And I couldn't have said it any better. I really couldn't have said it any better. I think those were pretty much the things I wanted to say. I don't know if one thing I did want to point out is I don't think he has a good financial advisor, if he does have any financial advisor at all. The fact that he's able to pay bodyguards and all this stuff, but he doesn't have a banker. Okay. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and end it there. You guys definitely, thank you for coming in. So some of the people that I didn't get to call out, I see that you did come in. I do appreciate y'all. Yeah, I see there's one troll in here. No, there was no trolls. No trolls. I think we did pretty good tonight.
Man,
shout out to all the new people I see. Soul Alchemy. I've actually subscribed to your channel as well. I do appreciate you coming into the live. Thank you. Red Pill Network. Appreciate you coming in tonight. Shout out to you. Shock and Rob. Feeling Real Cool Live. Really appreciate you. Antonio Hendricks, thank you for coming in. We Unlock Nation, you're my brother. I appreciate you coming in as well. And for everybody else who caught the live and anybody who I didn't call out, I do appreciate you being in tonight. We're going to go ahead and sign off. if there isn't anything else. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for coming in.